Say no. Get in the habit of saying no to people, situations, and things that do not serve or bring peace and happiness to you. Hello, you are listening to the Her Complexion Podcast. I am your host, Antionette Booker, the founder of Her Complexion Network, and this podcast where we discuss all things Black women, her career, her bag, and her melanin. Our podcast conversations will be all about Black women taking up space in the boardroom, Black women securing the bag through building generational wealth, and Black women becoming the best version of themselves by all means necessary. Hey, certified CEOs. We are back for another episode of the Her Complexion Podcast. My name is Antionette Booker, your host and the founder of Her Complexion Network, where we help Black women make the right connections at the right time. Thank you for tuning in again, and I appreciate you for downloading this podcast and supporting us. If you are new to the podcast, make sure that you share this podcast episode with someone that you know and visit our website to learn more about the network and partnership opportunities at hercomplexion.com. Are you ready to get into our topic for today? Today, I want to share with you 3 simple tips that will help you shift into your season of happiness. If you are someone you know is experiencing a season of uncertainty or unhappiness in their current situation, whether it be unhappiness on the job, unhappiness in a romantic relationship, or just unhappiness in life, then this episode is for you. First and foremost, let me be 100% transparent with you. A few years ago, I went through a season of depression. I was so depressed. Listen, I was acting out. I was acting a little crazy. I literally didn't recognize myself. I was snapping for no reason at family get-togethers. I wasn't showing up to family events, and I was defensive about everything. I was very unhappy with my romantic relationship at the time. It was a toxic situation for me that no longer served me, but somehow I couldn't find the strength to leave. I was stress eating. I was unhappy with my job, which I've talked about before, and I just didn't like who I saw in the mirror. I remember sitting on the floor in my living room one day and asking myself, why me? And I just couldn't stop crying. I was crying nonstop. Why did I have to question some of the people in my life, both romantic and platonic relationships? It took a few years for me to get to a place where I was happy with Antionette. It took me being intentional about focusing on both my mental and physical health. It took me becoming very clear on the type of people that I wanted in my space and the type of man who I wanted to attract, all because I stood up one day and made the choice to choose myself. Choosing myself was the best decision that I could have ever made and led me to my season of happiness. And now I want to share with you how you can shift into yours. But first, here's a small disclaimer. I have to protect the brand. I am by no means a licensed therapist, and I recommend anyone who is experiencing depression to seek medical attention or professional help. So let's go, ladies. If you want to shift into your season of happiness, you need to remove and or set boundaries with toxic people in your life, and that includes your family. Sometimes the people who are blocking you from your blessings are the people closest to you. And I know that this can be difficult for you because you love the people closest to you, but if being around them shifts your energy and causes you to step out of character, then it's time to set clear boundaries with them or let them go. Setting boundaries could be not telling them all of your business and limiting the time that you spend with them. Oftentimes, I think it's hard for us to step away from the people closest to us because we have this picture in our heads of who we want them to be versus recognizing and acknowledging who they are right now. Tip number 2, get busy working on yourself and or doing something that you love to do. I know that when I was coming out of my depression phase, I did 2 things. Number 1, I began working out. Like I started back running and going to the gym all the time. And the second thing that I did was keep myself busy by focusing on my businesses. When I wasn't working out or spending time with my family, I was working on my businesses. And for me, that was my therapy. Now, I did end up hiring, a therapist to help me, but in my personal time, it was me working out and spending time on my businesses. It kept me out of my head and my mind off of the things that were interfering with my happiness. Tip number 3, say no. Get in the habit of saying no to people, situations, and things that do not serve or bring peace and happiness to you. Listen, sis, I know that he said he would change, but if he hasn't changed by now, then he will never change. And you stand in situationships with someone who you have to beg over and over again to do right by you is not helping you become the best version of yourself. Say no to being friends with people where you have to question their loyalty and commitment to you. If you have a girlfriend who is constantly saying sideways things to you or does not invite you to their events and y'all are supposed to be friends, then it's time to let them go. Now, I do believe in extending grace because God extends grace to us each and every day. But I don't believe in getting your feelings hurt over and over again. And I don't believe in begging for love or for someone to treat you right. When people show you who they are, observe and move accordingly. It is really that simple. Your happiness and peace of mind is non-negotiable. And you have to know that. Happiness is a choice, and your path to happiness is a choice as well. I know firsthand how feeling obligated to have someone in your life just to say you have someone can do more damage than good. You are worthy of peace and happiness, and I truly want that for you. Thank you for listening to me today. If you enjoyed today's podcast episode, please leave a review or message me on Instagram at her.complexion. Until next time, bye. Again, my name is Antionette, and I hope that you jump on this Black Women in Excellence train with me. Please remember to subscribe to this podcast and check out the show notes for your free e-guide, 5 ways to build your network, and all things Her Complexion membership and merch. Until next time, sis, always protect your melanin.